your life.
All right, well, welcome to my kitchen. We're gonna make solo mia. It's a dish that I love to go to the White House in Post Falls, Idaho to eat, and I figured out how to make it, and this is the ingredients. You'll need some spaghetti, a half of diced, thin, small red onion, salt and pepper, heavy cream, diced up garlic. I use some garlic powder because this is a very garlicky dish. Clam juice, minced clams or chopped clams in their sauce, cornstarch, and some water to dissolve the cornstarch as a thickening agent if it doesn't thicken enough. So to get started, we're going to move on over here. We're going to first start our water. And to your water, you want to add a little olive oil or any kind of oil you like. And this is the best time to season your pasta, otherwise it'll be seasonless. So I put quite a bit of salt in it. And then you take your olive oil as well and put it in your saute pan. And that's where we're going to start to saute our garlic and onion. Now you want to be really careful with garlic, it burns easy. So once you've got it in that pan, it needs to be managed. And I need constant. So let's just stir that up and get it coated really good. And this is going to cook probably for 2 to 3 minutes, and we'll come back to that and I'll show you. Now, if you could see that these onions are translucent, kind of clear, and the garlic's toasted a little bit. And I've been cooking this whole time on a medium-high heat. Sometimes just the temperature of your stove, you might need to turn it down a little bit. But can you see it's not really frying it hard? Okay, next to our onions and garlic, we're going to add clam juice, and you can pick this up at most grocery stores. I'm going to just shake it up a little because I want to get everything in the bottom. And at this time I'm going to reduce the heat to medium. And then you take your clams and you're just going to drain just the juice. You're going to leave the clams in the can. They go in very last. One thing I did forget to tell you is you should always have a glass of wine while you're cooking because it's the most enjoyable time to drink wine. I added all my clam juice to that. Now I'm going to I prefer the heavy whipping cream. Whipping cream is a little thinner. The heavy whipping cream gives you the better consistency. And I put the whole, what is it, a whole pint in there. And that'll just make a really nice broth and creamy sauce. Now this is going to cook for quite some time. I'm going to say at least 20 minutes. And in fact, I'll tell you when it's 7:01 now, and I'll tell you when it's done. I'll tell you what time it is. All right, so over here, we've got our water simmering and getting warm, but it's not quite ready for the pasta, and I'll come right back as soon as we're ready for that. In the meantime, I'm just going to occasionally stir this as it warms up. All right, so we've got our water boiling here, so we're going to add our pasta. Never to salt and oil it so it doesn't stick together and it's seasoned. Just drop it in there, and you want to start really moving it, because if you don't move it, it'll stick together and become a little colony. So you're just going to keep stirring it and mixing it till it's loose and noodly, wet noodly. This could take at least a minute. And if you'll check over here how our sauce is, it's simmering here. You just want to reach over here and stir it occasionally. And you can do this double-handed like me. Ouchies, that's hot. All right. Okay, we'll come back to you and so if any of you know how to do this in a better way, you feel free to leave a comment on the posting section. And don't forget your sauce. See how all those flavors are getting in there? I think now's a really good time to put a little salt and pepper in this bad boy. And really it's all to taste. I'm going to say at least a teaspoon to 2 teaspoons of salt, but add it slowly so you don't overdo it. And I like my peppers, so that's at least a teaspoon. Yeah. Okay, that's a teaspoon. What I really meant to say is that was like a quarter of a teaspoon of pepper, but you just do it to taste. And on the pasta, you'll just follow your the directions on here how to make it to al dente. I like to just take it. See, the noodles are starting to move around. None of them are sticking together. That's really a good look. All right, and I'll come back to you in just a minute when we have these noodles ready to drain. And so now we're going to add the pasta to the sauce. And I did not put cornstarch in it because it thickened up pretty good on its own. Now why we do this on the pan is this pasta is going to now cook and become real creamy. And you just keep moving it around in there, and you're just going to let it, I raised the temperature up just a little tiny bit, so it's now going to be on medium. I did turn it down earlier a little bit. So now we're just going to let that simmer and bubble in there. And I'll come back to you. So it's going to be creamy and sloppy and yummy and delicious. So I'll come back and show you what that looks like. And the noodles are starting to really get the sauce stuck to it, and it's starting to thicken up, and they're absorbing those noodles. I've got it, still got it on about a medium heat, and then it's really only 722. So we talked earlier about when I put the noodles, or when I started cooking the sauce. This is how fast this goes down. One of the things you want to know is you don't walk away from this dish, because you could scorch this really easily because it's got milk in it, and you could burn the garlic. So it's a fast cooking. Look at how it's starting to just bubble and thicken up, and looking yummy and creamy. We'll just keep going, and I will let you know what these noodles have absorbed most of the liquid. So it is really ready. That's done pretty much. We're going to just turn that down to very low, the lowest your stove will do, and we're going to add our clams. The reason why you want to do that is the last part will make those clams really chewy, and you don't want that. And let's just stir that around a little bit. And one of the things in the ingredients section that I didn't tell you is you've got to top it with some Parmesan or your favorite kind of cheese. So now that I've got that incorporated, I've tasted it and I like the way it tastes. It's got just the right amount of seasonings. You're going to love this. It's fast, easy, and simple. And everybody will love it. And if you are a person that doesn't like the texture and taste of clams, you can just use the clam juice, and then you won't have that chewy clam in there. So that's a really good way to make it if you're not a clam eater. So now we're just going to like move that around a little in there. And voila. Look at that. Yummy. See, when I pull away, there's not runny juice left. It's all just sucked into that. So when you're making your noodles, just make sure you don't cook them till they're really fat, and they want a little bit of bite in them when you test them. Time to take a bite of this. I'm going to share this with my cameraman, Colt.
Hello.
Hello. So you want to say a little bit about what kind of wine you would recommend with this?
You know what? I'm more along the lines of what wine I like at the time. So, you know, it's a white dish, but a red wine, and this has got a hearty flavor, and this has a hearty flavor, so there you go.
Well, let's pour yourself a glass, because you know I've been drinking this whole time while you were doing all the hard work. All right, there you go, my friend. I'll move you there. There's your food. Let's give this a taste.
Wait, I know it's going to be very tasty.
I don't think I'll be able to talk after this bite.
Oh my god.
Ooh la la!
You nailed it.
Yummy. And we didn't even have to drive an hour both ways to have this. Here's to good food, stealing your recipes from your favorite restaurants, and good friends that share them with you.
Whoop, whoop.